I'm Bruce Marshall, and this is the Brampton Now update for the week ending the September 12th, 13th weekend, 2020. This is a succinct, once-a-week hotshot of everything important that has happened in Brampton the previous week and what's coming up. Brampton, unbought and unbiased. Coming up, Peel's new Associate Chief Medical Officer of Health on what the Health Department is doing to facilitate safety in schools. Brampton's bylaw chief on how their calls have evolved over the course of the pandemic emergency. Plus, another testing center opens in Brampton. And my Marshall Rant. Brampton needs a code of conduct for city contractors, too. Details on that and more coming up in this Brampton Now update. The top stories this week in Brampton. Peel Public Health has a new Associate Medical Officer of Health. Dr. Monica Howe has a few words on how the Regional Health Department and the Boards of Education are working together.
We have worked closely with our school boards to prepare them for reopening, and this means that the school day looks a bit different. For elementary students, this may mean something like class bubbles, where they spend their entire day together, including lunch and recess. For high school students, this may mean alternating between online and in-person learning to stay within a small cohort of 15 students. This week, our schools have limited attendance with a focus on teaching students about health and safety protocols. Peel Public Health is also supporting schools with school health nurses who will be helping out with infection prevention and control practices and to be able to rapidly do case and contact management in schools, should there be a case.
Several city services have reopened this week. Mayor Patrick Brown on that.
This includes City Hall, Building Division, Enforcement and Bylaw Services located at the Flower City Community Campus, the Williams Parkway Operations Center, the Animal Shelter, and the Civic Center. But I would note, as these buildings are now open to the public, it's only open on an appointment basis, so there's no walk-in traffic.
Brown also talked about traffic safety as kids head back to school.
I should also mention today that since schools are reopening in Peel, we really want to highlight the need for safety. As students brush up on their ABCs, we're encouraging drivers to do theirs. Be alert when driving in school zones. Watch for children crossing at all points on your route. Do not block a school's fire route, even for a few seconds. In an emergency, those precious seconds matter. And lastly, watch for crossing guards. The stop signs they are holding have the same legal authority as a fixed stop sign at an intersection.
Brampton's Chief of Bylaw Enforcement was asked about how things have evolved for the Bylaw Department.
I can tell you when COVID first hit, we were very focused on the social gatherings. We mobilized all our staff. We brought them in, and that was our intent, was to limit that. Over the course of time, it's changed. It's been social gatherings, masks, so our efforts have been towards enforcing the use of masks and keeping the numbers of people down. But we also have the other safety aspect in the city, and that's of the secondary units, of the parking problems we have, of licensing, our public transportation. So we've had to go back to our core business as well. So we're doing two businesses as one entity. What we've had to do is prioritize within that, and I'll give you an example. If we get two calls come in, and one's a mask call where somebody's not properly wearing it or not wearing it at all, and we have a parking complaint come in, we prioritize and we go to the mask call.
In a moment, we have another testing center opening up. The head of William Osler Health from the city's press conference this week, ahead on Brampton Now Update.
This is your invitation to go beyond sightseeing, to engage in our traditions. Come experience something new, yet centuries old, and give in to your sense of adventure. Experience our country's history and heritage. Discover your authentic Indigenous experience at indigenoustourism.ca.
This is the Brampton Now Update. I'm Bruce Marshall. Dr. 𝗕𝗿𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺, head of the William Osler Health System, joined the City of Brampton's news conference this week to announce
we're going to open our urgent care center in the fall anyways, but with the rising cases of COVID in Peel region for various reasons, the lack of primary care physicians who are willing to see these very high-risk patients, because the primary care physicians may not have PPE access or the infrastructure to see patients, and our thoughts that with schools reopening and flu season coming, the safest thing to do would have been to open a completely separate flu and influenza-like illness and COVID-19 assessment center. So we are thinking about these things all the time, and to align it with school reopening and some of the cases that have risen in Peel recently, we felt this would be the best time to open it. Our other two ERs, including Brampton Civic, still have not gone back up to the numbers that they were at pre-COVID, which tells me that patients are choosing very smartly when they have to come to the hospital and when they don't. And because the numbers have not gone up, we feel that the ERs at Brampton Civic, the ER at Etobicoke General can manage the really serious patients, and we can really help the community and support our community physicians by opening this flu and assessment center. That's why we've done that right now.
What is probably our first sort of normal event, the World of Jazz Festival, is on this weekend. Here's Artistic Director Carmen Spada from the city's press conference this week.
On Saturday, September 12th, we have live outdoor performances running from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. in Brampton, Kenwillan Square, right outside of City Hall during the Farmers Market. We've got some bands at Long McQuaid Musical Instruments, as well as at Mount Pleasant Village. These bands range from bebop players to some gypsy jazz, funk, fusion, even some ska and reggae for those of you into that. And these are Brampton-based bands. We're happy to give them this opportunity. Then from 6 to 8, we have a dinner jazz segment. There's 5 restaurants in the downtown hosting duos and trios, and you can check them out at Vesuvio's Restaurant, Fanzarelli's, Keenan's Irish Pub, Segovia Coffee, and J. Red & Co. Of the 12 bands hired on Saturday, 11 of these bands are local Brampton-based bands employing Brampton musicians, and we're happy to give that opportunity this year to musicians who have had a pretty tough go in the last 5 months in a way that they can now engage their audiences and their fans again. Then on Sunday, September 13th, we produce a in-studio live stream concert of nonstop music from 1 to 9 p.m. And when we say live stream, this is not pre-recorded or edited. We are performing live. This is jazz music. The spirit of this music is collaborative and based on improvisation. And we feel that, especially hearing back from our audiences and our patrons, that they really value this this aspect of our performances. So that kicks off at 1 o'clock. I'll be kicking that stream off, playing piano and singing with my 6-piece band, some original songs and arrangements. We've also got multi-Juno winner and Canadian jazz luminary Kirk MacDonald and his quartet, Juno-nominated fusion drummer Sarah Thawer. We've got a 10-piece Latin jazz orchestra, an 8-piece New Orleans-style brass band. We've got wonderful groups, and we're ending the night with the Natural Elements, which is a 5-piece band dedicated to the music of the 70s and soul and Motown. So you can check that stream out at www.worldofjazz.ca, as well as at our World of Jazz Facebook and YouTube pages. We want to remind everybody for the outdoor performances as well to respect the guidelines and protocols of Phase 3. Wear your mask, and if you don't have a mask, you can always pick up a World of Jazz Festival mask at our location.
Details on the fest can be found at worldofjazz.ca. Coming up, a Brampton tween cleans up on America's Got Talent, and a former Brampton MP has been charged with criminal offenses. That's ahead on the Brampton Now Update. I'm Bruce Marshall, and this is the Brampton Now Update. Brampton tween Roberta Battaglia has been gaining notice with outstanding performances on America's Got Talent. This week, she wowed the judges with a rendition of Pink's What About Us? Battaglia will move on to the final round with 5 contestants. The winner of the $1 million prize will be announced on the September 24th finale of America's Got Talent, broadcast locally on City TV. Rotary Club of Brampton report that they have raised in excess of $80,000 for Regeneration Resource Center, our local food bank, through generous donations from club members, Loblaws matching grants, My B-Day fundraisers, and in-kind donations from Turkish food importers who are friends of the Rotary Club. The Regeneration Food Bank was put together in the earliest days of the COVID-19 pandemic, when it was realized that another church-run food program would be closing due to all its volunteer staff being especially vulnerable. Regen, which operates a hot food service out of Grace United Church, and the Regen Thrift Shop added the food bank operation to their remaining warehouse space. It's since become Brampton's biggest food bank operation. The region of Peel advised this week that we have some changes to garbage pickup coming up. The normal fall exemption period, which would have run from September 14th to the 25th, is suspended this fall. They also remind residents that unlimited amounts of garbage will not be collected. They can only place 2 extra bags out on the regular collection day. No garbage tags are needed for that. Additional bags beyond the 2-bag limit will not be collected. Bulky items continue to be collected at the curb and accepted at Peel Community Recycling Centers. For more information, go to peelregion.ca. Sad news on the passing of Harmanda Singh Khera, father of Brampton Member of Parliament Kamal Khera. Khera, a registered nurse, did double duty at the beginning of the pandemic by signing back up for nursing duties. She ended up catching COVID-19 herself. Her father, who passed Monday, was 63. The funeral was Thursday. As Brampton Now Update was going to tape, a report that former Brampton East Liberal Member of Parliament Raj Grewal has been charged with 4 counts of breach of trust and 1 count of fraud over $5,000. The RCMP say an extensive criminal investigation, which first began in September of 2017 after the RCMP received proactive disclosure from the Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Centre of Canada regarding suspicious transactions involving Mr. Grewal during his time in office. FinTrack reports large suspicious transactions to law enforcement for follow-up. In a moment, what's ahead in Brampton this weekend and beyond? Plus, ahead, my Marshall Rant. Brampton needs a code of conduct for contractors on the Brampton Now Update. You're watching Brampton Now Update. I'm Bruce Marshall. This weekend and ahead in Brampton, Brampton Farmers Market is Saturday. Details on the market and protocols at brampton.ca. City of Brampton nonprofit learning series measuring and evaluating programs and services is offered by the Peel Leadership Center next Tuesday, 10 a.m. to noon, with facilitator 𝗕𝗿𝗺 𝗺𝗃𝗁. Go to peelleadershipcenter.org to register. Boys and Girls Club of Canada have a National Youth of the Year initiative that celebrates youth leadership and achievement at Boys and Girls Clubs across the country. Go to bgcpeel.org for more information. The Journey Neighborhood Center, with 2 Brampton program locations, opened a thrift store in downtown Brampton. Journey Thrift is on Nelson Street near the YMCA. Brampton Music Theatre has a fundraising contest called Catch the Ace. It's at bmtcatchtheace.ca. BMT also continues online training programs on their website at bramptonmusictheatre.com. The Manitoba Métis Federation invites all Canadians to take part in their Journey in the Heart of the Homeland idea competition and help design the future home of the Métis Nation Heritage Centre. The top 10 submissions will receive a cash prize, including a $10,000 grand prize to their first place winner. Visit journeyintheheartofthehomeland.com for more information. Coming up, Brampton needs a code of conduct for city contractors. My thoughts on that next on the Marshall Rant here on the Brampton Now Update.
I've been alienated from my son for almost a year and a half.
Gabriel, I have not seen 4 years. Christian, I have not seen 2 years.
I have not seen my children in 513 days.
I have been unable to talk to him or see him.
I'm Bruce Marshall, and this is the Marshall Rant. You could be forgiven for missing the detail at City Council this week of a little drama that played out by a group that I made a complaint to the Integrity Commissioner about last year. This sort of hydra-headed group started out as a political lobby group. They were a pretty hardline group, a group known for their bad blood with those that they considered enemies and disaffected members of their own group. To be a member, you'd best hold to the beliefs of their 2 main leaders, or be ostracized on social media for being an idiot, a dope, or a moron because you disagree with them. I believe they referred to my young friend 𝗕𝗿𝗺𝗺 as the village idiot in a recent post. Cody is anything but an idiot. One thing these guys are great at telegraphing is when you've got under their skin. Well, these guys were back at City Council last week looking for another lump of public money to do God knows what that they had no measurable outcome for. They figured that being involved community members was enough reason to give them more money after their previous handout. And let me be clear. If you're a group that can do something measurable for the city, I'm all for it. For example, if you're, say, a crime reduction organization that can actually demonstrate a reduction in crime from public investment, let's make that investment. But let's not spend public money just because it's going to what we judge as good people with good intentions. Now, we already need to open up the Brampton Code of Conduct to make amendments for what the code failed to do in the case of 𝗕𝗿𝗺𝗺𝗺. However, since we've got that code opened up, I'd suggest we also have to include a code of conduct for city contractors. For a time, that's what this group was, a city contractor. Yet they operated with the same loathing and disdain for anyone who didn't toe their political line. It's just not acceptable that a potential city contractor can call someone who doesn't agree with them politically the village idiot. Anyone who wants to be a city contractor should demonstrate more class, and they should be held to a higher standard by a code of conduct for city contractors. And certainly, it should not be the case that anyone who is a city contractor should be free to call taxpayers idiots and morons because they don't agree with them politically. If you're accepting money from the tax trough, you should have some respect for those who contribute to your handout. So let's get the Brampton Code of Conduct opened up, and let's enact a code of conduct for city contractors. This case, with these characters, is a demonstration of the need for such a code. What do you think? Leave your comments below, or get back to me. I'm Bruce Marshall, and that's it for this week. Please subscribe to the Brampton Now Update channel on YouTube or follow #MarshallMinute on Facebook for lots of Brampton Need to Know that you won't find anywhere else. Your comments and suggestions are always welcome, and if you've got a Brampton story to tell, get in touch with me through this channel that you're watching on right now. Stay strong, Brampton. Brampton strong. We're all in this together. I'm Bruce Marshall. Thanks for watching Brampton Now Update.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.